Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody anywhere in between, lovely to see you again. It's Connor Rhodes from SlimSociety.co.uk, your friendly neighbourhood nutritionist, and it's an afternoon weekday. You know what that means. It means it's me, and it means it's you. It means I'm back once again to help you with your information, your education, and your motivation surrounding your fat loss, food, and fitness. Here we go. Let's jump straight into it. Shall we? Today we're going to be talking about something that's pertinent and important to a lot of people. We're going to be talking about how to reduce sugar and junk food cravings. You may know by now, if you're a follower, that my program is called the 6 Steps to Slim. The 4th step is called snacking and psychology. So it's literally built into the program that we help people with this. It's an optional section of the program. There's only one mandatory section of the program, the other sections are optional, but it's literally built in because it's a problem that so many people struggle with. People come to me quite often, they feel like the food controls them, or the junk food is controlling them, or they can't stop, and like they've got food addiction and it's just bringing negativity to their lives. And then we help people get their food under control, get the junk food under control, get the sugar under control, get the cravings under control, and through this get the calorie consumption and their health then, and their happiness through that under control. And I can't give you the full speech and spiel, obviously. It would take too long. These videos need to be less than 10 minutes. 4 requirements, so I'm trying to be short and sweet, but I've got 3 top tips for you today on how you can reduce your sugar cravings. The first one, this is top tip number 1, so if you're making notes, here we go. The first one is whittle down your consumption. Do you know what whittle means? Whittle means it's when you get wood and you chip away at it steadily. That's what I mean. Chip away at your consumption steadily. If you eat 3 chocolate bars a day, don't go to 0, go to 2. If you're looking at snacks overall, maybe you eat 5 or 6 snacks per day on average. After you've done an assessment of your food intake, which is like what we would do on the 6 Steps to Slim, we would do an assessment of your food intake, see what's going on, and then we'll try to make positive changes, and we do it a little bit, 1 step at a time. If one of your goals is to reduce snacking and we find out you eat 6 snacks per day, we're not going to go to none. We're not going to go to 2. If we're going to go probably from 5 or 6 to like 4 or 5. And then if you can do that next week, then we'll go to 3 or 4. And then we'll see. Do we have to reduce it more than that? Maybe we don't. Maybe 3 snacks per day, maybe that's fine for you. Maybe your weight starts coming down nicely. If we have to keep reducing it though, we'll keep reducing it. Or, I mean, we could look at calories in other areas, you know, but if we wanted to keep working on the snacks, we'd do it nice and steady. We would whittle it down. You could reduce your portion sizes. You could look for lower calorie alternatives. You could reduce the frequency of snacking. There's many things you could do. And this will also reduce your cravings down, you know, as well. A lot of people feel like, and it's kind of true, that they crave a lot of junk food, so then they eat a lot of junk food. Kind of. But it's more the other way around. It's more like you eat so much junk food and that's causing you to crave so much junk food. It's not that you crave so much that you eat so much of it, it's that you eat so much of it and then that causes the cravings. You know, when you crave something and then you eat the thing you crave, that feeds the craving, that makes it larger, it makes it come back next time. It delays it, it'll go away for a little bit, but it'll come back next time and it'll come back bigger. It's due to dopamine hits, and sometimes in psychology it's called the pleasure trap, which is also about how after you get used to a little bit of chocolate and a few snacks and it makes you feel good. After a while though, you need more. And then more, and then more, and then you're snacking until you feel sick and it's still not making you happy, but you find you can't stop and it's just gone too far, hasn't it? It's to do with pleasure from the brain. When you put junk food into your mouth, it's specifically designed for mouth pleasure, literally chocolate, crisps, sweets. They're designed only to give you pleasure of the mouth, basically. They're not nutritious, are they, or necessarily good for you. It's designed to make you feel good in the face, isn't it? And it releases dopamine from your brain, and then your brain can get used to these dopamine hits. If you're used to finishing work, settling the kids down or whatever, and then you start munching, in an evening, your brain is expecting for pleasure of the mouth coming to you in an evening, isn't it? And if you just suddenly stop this, you'll find it difficult. Your brain will cry, where's the pleasure? We usually have more dopamine from the mouth than this. Where is it? Where's the pleasure of the day? If you're usually hitting yourself with mouth pleasure 6 times per day, and then suddenly you cut it down to 0, it's not really the best way to go. And people often think sometimes that when they reduce the amount of junk food that they're eating, that this will enlarge their cravings. Not really. You stop feeding them, they'll shrink too. When you eat less junk food, you'll actually crave less junk food. You'll just get used to eating less of it, like you've gotten used to eating more of it. That's why you crave it so much, because you've built it as a habit. It's just a dopamine habit. It's just a pleasure of the mind habit. A top tip as well for any habit building really is try to replace one habit with another. So rather than reduce the dopamine and pleasure you receive per day that you're usually getting from food because you're eating 3 snacks every evening or something. If you're trying to cut down your weight and cut down these snacks, don't just cut out the pleasure of the food. Replace it with something else that's not food. Replace it with something else that makes you feel happy in another way. Search for other forms of happiness and things that make you feel good in life that are not just putting food into the face, because too much of anything can become a bad thing. And it's not that food pleasure is bad, or that snacks are bad, or that I'm telling you not to snack at all, or you shouldn't eat junk food. I'm not saying any of these things. Don't be so extreme. Point number 1, this one is whittle it down, because it's about balance, which is going to bring me on to point number 2. It's just about finding the foods that work for you, and the amount of foods and the amount of snacks that makes you happy and gives you the pleasure that you want without it damaging your health or you experiencing some negatives from it. So tip number 2 then, point number 1 was whittle it down. Tip or point number 2 is don't overly restrict. So point number 1 is whittle down your consumption. Point number 2 is don't overly restrict though. Don't stop playing this all or nothing game. Oh, I don't care what I eat. I'll eat all the snacks. I don't give a shit about anything. Until it gets to the point where you think, oh God, I feel like crap. I've got to do something about this. Okay, snacks are banned. I don't eat snacks. Snacks are banned. No, stop. Slow down. Point number 1 was whittle it down. You've forgotten point number 1 already. Stop overly restricting yourself. If you overly restrict yourself, the red binge eating mist will descend. And then you won't know what happens until you wake up and you're covered in flipping crumbs and wrappers. You'll just go off the rails, won't you? You'll just binge it all back. You'll just gorge it all back, most likely. That's what most people do. If you overly restrict, even feelings of mental restriction. Like how, have you ever gone to start a diet and you think, oh, I'm starting on Monday, and then you think, oh my God, then I better get my cravings out of the way now. And then you have a big binge on Saturday and Sunday, preparing to eat healthier on Monday. This is how powerful the mind is. You are feeling restricted from thoughts of dieting. You haven't even started dieting. You're just thinking that you'll start dieting soon. This makes you feel restricted. This makes you then overeat. This is the power of the mind. Be careful with it. Stop playing all or nothing. Balance is best. Just start playing the proper game. Whittle down the consumption. Don't overly restrict yourself. We're not trying to go to zero pleasure from food. You're not trying to just only eat flipping rice and plain broccoli, I hope. This is not the path to health. It's not the path to success. It's not the path to successful weight management either. It's not going to make you happier. It's not a better plan. Fit the foods that you like to eat into your calorie intake and diet, okay? You can eat chocolate, crisps, you can order a takeaway, drink beer, wine, these things, and still be slim. You definitely can. It's not one or the other. Stop pretending. Point number 1, whittle down the consumption rather than trying to just slash at it or stop it, which is point number 2, isn't it? Don't overly restrict. Stop slashing at it and trying to stop it. Whittle it down. Point number 3, and I've only got 2 minutes left, so I'm going to have to rush over this topic slightly, but you'll get the point anyway. It's change your food environment and control your food environment. The environment that you're in vastly affects who you are and the choices that you make. Can you control all of your environments? No. Can you influence some of them? Yes. Like what about work? What about home? What about in the car? If at home you are surrounded by junk food, you've got ice cream in the freezer, you've got, I don't know, junk food in the fridge, you've got chocolate in one cupboard, you've got crisps in another cupboard, you've got any cupboard you go in for anything, there's just junk food everywhere, and it's all the junk foods that you like the best. Then don't wonder why you eat them, because you're surrounded by unlimited temptation. If you've got sweets in the car, don't wonder why you pick them when you're stuck in traffic. It's because it's highly available, highly palatable, highly desirable. Of course you do. You're a normal human. So would I. What about work? Can you stop people bringing in other snacks and stuff like that? Not really, no. But can you stop bringing in snacks? Yes. Can you stop bringing in junk food? Yes. Can you make sure you don't have junk food on your desk specifically? Yes. Could you move it further away from you? Yes. Could you get the junk food at home and put it all into one cupboard so that you don't come across junk food in any cupboard in your flipping house? Or in your kitchen that you go into, you don't come across junk food and then have to resist it. Science shows that your level of willpower is not a high correlate with your dietary success. And you think, what? Yes, it is. I have low willpower because I always eat all the foods that I just can't resist all these foods. No one can. Your willpower is not, listen to me again, a high correlate with your dietary success or not. How many temptations you come across per day is a high correlate with your dietary success or not. It's not whether you can resist the food, it's how often you have to resist it. People have only got so many no's in them before they'll give in and say yes. So try and clear out some of the crap out of your environments. Get it out of the car, try and get some of the crap out of your house, get it out of work, clear it out. Make the healthier options the easier options, make it easier to succeed and harder to struggle. Reduce the amount of temptations you come across per day and dieting will feel easier. Your cravings will reduce because you're not even trying to resist it as much. Thank you so much. It's been a 10-minute video once again. I am Conor Rhodes from Fun Society. Message Message me if you need help. Go to slumsociety.co.uk, see who we are and how we can help you. Give this video a like or a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe and follow for more daily weekday content videos and writings. Thank you so much. Speak to you and I'll see you again soon.